Safari Investments has released a set of positive numbers for the full year. According to the company, these results are a reflection of its retail operations, which is currently delivering a secure financial pivot, including growing revenue, growth in line with budget forecasts. But joining me to talk more about these numbers is the Chief Executive, that is Francois Marais. He is from Safari Investments. Francois, thank you so much for joining us. You've just heard the conversation that I had with David Shapiro. And of course, looking at Safari Investments and your exposure to the region that we were talking about, you've got malls in Atteridgeville, Sebokeng, Mamelodi. There are now headlines around Tshwane burning. Have you been impacted and are you worried?
Thank you, Tumi. Thank you for the opportunity. And listening to David, we shouldn't be there, but we are there and we are making headway. We did expect things like this to happen, and we've made provisions for it. And as a result of that, we've had no damage or anything to the detriment of our investments. Our investments are just as good as they've been before. The gates have been closed, so obviously as long as this is going on, the gates are closed and people don't trade, but it'll open again in a day or so, so it won't last forever. But regardless of this, we have had a very good year. We had a growth in our portfolio size from 1.8 billion to 2.2 billion, which is a 23% increase. And this, amongst others, was largely as a result of what's been happening in the investments that you've just been talking about. And we had a revenue increase from 140 to 172 million net, which shows a 22% growth, which is for us also a very positive growth. The average yield in the portfolio currently is 8%, and our average rental is in fact 125 rand, not 122 as the results show. But if you take the gross rental, it is 125, which showed an increase of 10% in the rentals and that is across the portfolio.
Francois, we just had I know chief executives don't usually look at what the share price does, but we had it up on screen a few moments ago and was weaker by 4.8%. Of course, these concerns around Tshwane burning, you've said that we don't need to be worried about that at this stage, and you haven't really been significantly impacted. But the fact that you are retail facing, and you've got the consumer under pressure, you've got the likes of Edgar's and Truworths and all the other retailers there. What are you saying to your investors at the moment to say, when it comes to the politics that we are seeing, it's going to blow over? And secondly, we are faced with this tough economic environment, but we can still continue to deliver for you.
The trading densities in our portfolio, we have actually for each and every center, but the trading densities in the portfolio is 31,700 rand a square meter, which is comparable to the IPD similar densities of 29,200, which is national. So we are above the national trading densities. We have had not any decrease in trading densities in any of the centers. Now, these are normally the way that you measure these things. We have tenants, and as you know, we've got 90% nationals. The report says it's below 90, but that is simply because we've been moving tenants around. So we've got, in fact, vacant spaces. But the reason for that was actually to improve the quality of the tenants. And as of now, the national occupancy, national tenancy is again 90%. So in that way, it's very safe. And if you've got national tenants, and if you look at their trading densities, what is across the board very good, then there's no reason for concern. These are the things that for us are important. We do a regular market study to see what happens in the market, so we know what's happening, and we listen to that, and we tenant accordingly. As you know, we've got the full complement of tenants in these centers that you mentioned now. We did have our attempts to damage the property. Nothing happened. We're safe in this way. We also had we've got, by the way, very good security at the centers, very good security. It costs us a pretty packet each year, but we do that. And we also have very good cooperation from the police side. And even overnight, we keep constant connection with these things. So things are looking good. It's not as if we've had any particular damage as such. And neither have we had damage in the eyes of the public. These are the people that are to shop there. I think if you look at it's so interesting, if you look at the social media, then there's outcry against what's happening on social media, also across the board from all the aspects of the society. The portfolio in size went up by 10% from 139,000 to 153, and we foresee that the portfolio will increase in the following 2 years.
I mean, on that point, in terms of increasing the portfolio, are you going to continue to invest in South Africa and in the township area in particular? There's been a big call by government to revitalize the township. I know that there are partnerships with Advanced Health, with that clinic in Soweto at the moment, and office parks. So your role here, and of course I think there's a great opportunity for public-private partnerships. This is where you come in.
We are looking at this all the time, and we are open to any kind of suggestion that they might come. We are looking at expanding the Mamelodi investment substantially with the acquisition of extra property, and we are also extending our investment in, funnily enough, in Atteridgeville. We're building a third little centre around 20,000 square meters. There is a need in the area for extra retail. We never do these things other than basing it on a proper market study, and the letting of that is going well. We've already done the earthworks, and we'll be starting building there very soon. So we are consolidating and extending, and our whole view is to become, and we are, dominant centres in the areas where we are. And this we want to maintain at all costs. If you're a dominant centre, then people always come to you. We have very good public transport to the centre, so there's, for the public, no problem in getting to where we are.
Francois, thank you so much. You did hear it from the Chief Executive of Safari Investment, Francois Marais, who was saying that they're still going to continue the investment into areas like Atteridgeville and into South Africa.